Hi, I'm Sue Kay. I was chair of the judging panel this year. I have been with the MPA for about 22 plus years and been a portrait photographer for the same amount of time.
Hello, I'm Desi Fontaine and I have been a member of the MPA for a very long time and been a photographer for much, much longer than that as well.
Chairing the panel this year was a real honour, and I'm always delighted to do it. Everyone was very, they worked well, really well as a team. People were prepared to listen, people were prepared to listen to other people's opinions all the time, and where necessary, if they agreed, obviously they would change their score. If they didn't agree, they would still give a valid reason why not, and it just worked really well.
Hello, my name's James. I'm a portrait photographer from Portsmouth in the UK. You've probably not heard of me. At 41 years old, I'm the baby of the judging team.
The judging process was really as it normally is. We can go along and we're very much in agreement, and then suddenly there'll be a spike and there'll be somebody right at one end and someone else at the other end. And somehow, without any fists or fights or boxing gloves, we seem to come to agreements, and it's always the right choice, I think.
I'm Peter Ellis. I live in South Wales. Oh, God, I've been in photography now since the Stone Age, and basically I love it. Photography is my life. I just love photography. I couldn't live without it. It's a fantastic career. If you don't get involved in photography, there's something wrong with you.
I'm David MacDonald, been a photographer for 40 years, got my fellowship with the MPA in 1998, and judging on and off for all the years ever since then.
People don't seem to be photographing their children anymore, it seems to be dogs. So I don't know whether they've been replaced in emotions, but I doubt it. But it would be wonderful next year to see a big intake of images to judge that are families, because it seems to be disappearing, and how sad is that? If we're mostly social photographers, we should be seeing a lot more family images.
High Points was seeing some really unique images, and the fact that people are still trying to push themselves further, look for something different, not get onto the treadmill of following a trend or a style that they've seen in the past. Because they know it won in the past, they think they'll try and copy it, but people have adapted things and developed in a brilliant way.
The high points of the judging are when you get to see that image that really breaks into the excellence, that really sits above everything else. I can think of one image I actually got emotional about looking on day 2, and when an image resonates with you, I said this over dinner last night, when an image resonates with you, there's nothing more powerful than the still image. It really isn't, in terms of storytelling. In terms of simplicity in storytelling, the still image still is king.
The MPA members are definitely pushing photography forward. We're still seeing some lovely classical skills, and that's very important. Good lighting, good posing, good body language, great expression. Those things are never ever going to be replaced. But there's been some phenomenal ideas in some of the categories this year.
There were no fights this year, no fisticuffs, no arguments even. There were, a couple of prints where some people were very passionate about it. They put their point across so well that they were able to convince others either way. And everyone gelled really well.
The team was tight, really tight. The scoring was consistent. People worked together well. There was some heated debates over different types of images that come in. There were talks about how this style was done and how that style was done. People were expanding on the image, and looking at the images, we were basically talking about the content of the image, and it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
My first experience of being part of the judging team was actually more reassuring than anything else, because I've always taken great pride in the responsibility of judging, and I think this is the first time I've judged at a national level. And I think there's always the danger that you might be out of your depth, the danger that you might be out on a limb, and I felt that I was just welcomed onto the team by the other judges, and the overwhelming sense I got from it all was that we wanted to be a positive judging team, we wanted to be a judging team that listened, and we wanted to be a judging team that awarded. You know, we didn't want to, there was no snobbishness, there's none of the things that were around when I first joined the MPA sort of 15 years ago in terms of hierarchy and elitism. It was a case of just trying to award as many merits and as many highly commendeds as possible that were worthy to reward photographers' hard work, because I think it's a damn hard job, and I think the benefit you get from awards is really, really important.
Were there any arguments? No, I don't think we had any real, no one got really heated, everyone got on really well this year, but there are always passionate views, one side of an image or another. Everyone wants to fight for something that they really like. If someone sees something going through that really isn't, if they spotted something, then they want to make sure that everyone's seen that as well. Judging as a team, it's a great thing. The national judging, I love being involved in the national judging, much more so than watching a single regional competition judge where you've just got one person's views.
We had some heated debates, but there was no cake throwing or throwing your rattle out the pram and things like that. The judging itself went along really well, and I found that as a team, as I said before, we blended, and the scoring was very, very tight. And you'd have a judge sat next to you and you put your score in and they'd put their score in, and 9 times out of 10 it was the same. So it was brilliant. Everybody was happy and it was a good time. 2 days of real hard work though, real hard work.
I have a lot of tips for when people are entering next year. I think we've been influenced a lot by some of the wonderful Asian images that have been entered over the past few years, but because so many of them have been highly saturated and have been very, very much gone to the edge of the sharpening process, I think we've taken it on board in this country that that's what we're supposed to do. So now everybody's over sharpening, and I think that was one of the biggest things, over sharpening and banding.
The tips that I would give candidates to enter awards in future for maximum success is an old carpenter trait, which is measure twice, cut once. And what that means is that try and bring your deadlines forward a week so that you can print your images and have them ready in front of you and have a look at them and make sure that you're 100% happy with the print and 100% happy with what you've submitted. So many images that we saw come through, we commented that one small change would have jumped that image by 5 points, which sometimes would have jumped it into a completely different category. Sometimes would have just given it an award out of nowhere. Seeking a secondary opinion from someone who has won awards in the past, from someone who has judged in the past, from someone who has mentored in the past, is possibly the most important thing you can do, because you can be so attached to your images, you can be so emotionally attached to your own images that you can't see the wood for the trees. And just giving it to a third party who's been successful in the past, who can tell you that one thing that you need to change, listening, and whether you choose to do it or not is up to you, but if you do choose to do it, that may benefit you with more awards, I would suggest.
I loved the way the team got on. I mean, the images that we saw, there were some fabulous ones. There are always some fabulous ones, but this year, almost more than any other, I think the team really listened to each other. No one ever agrees 100% all of the time with what people like and dislike, but everyone was seeing different things in pictures, and we all listened to each other and changed marks accordingly. It was a good team this year, really good team.
Check your print quality. Make sure your print quality is up to the mark. Make sure there's no banding in your prints. We did have a couple of images where there was a little bit of banding, and you do lose a lot of points. I sounded like Cilla Black there, but you do lose a lot of points because of the banding, because you haven't checked the image. It shouldn't go off to the processors or to your printer or whoever you're sending it to without checking the image line by line, all the way down that image. Make sure that that image is clean. No spots, no marks, nothing like that.
Tips to candidates for next year would be to really scrutinise their images and their prints before they send them in. That's one of the most important things. There were some stunning images that were actually brought down by the print quality, and there was a fair amount of banding on some of the pictures. People are getting a little bit too involved in their own images to not notice the imperfections. I'd also advise people to come to many of the mock judgings we do, many of the real judgings we do, and see what's required. You know, we've said for years and years, this is an open judging, we make everything transparent, we open ourselves up to show you what's required, and people still don't turn up. So in terms of trying to better yourself, trying to find out what's required, please take advice. You know, just ask other people for advice, and don't get too immersed in your own image thinking it's amazing when there are slight imperfections that could be improved.
Look at your picture yourself with a critical eye. Sometimes you can be too close with a picture. You know all the things that you like about it. Try and look for things that you don't like about it and see if those can be rectified. We see lots. My biggest bugbear this year has been over-sharpening of prints. I really think that either if the lab puts automatic sharpening in, then you need to make sure you're not putting your file in so sharp, or you need to tell your lab that you don't want any extra sharpening putting in. There's been some images that have suffered in my mind and my scores through being too sharp.
Are there going to be any surprises this year when we see the winners? Oh, there's going to be some great surprises. There's some brilliant images. The selection of photographs this year that have been chosen, I think it surpasses what we've done in the past. And it is brilliant, absolutely. I keep saying the word brilliant, but there's no other way of describing the images. The standard of work was excellent.
I don't know who's won. So what I think we'll see with regards to the winners is we'll see a broad church of variety. We will see every style of photography will be represented. It won't follow a trend. It won't be kitsch, and it won't be stuff that you've seen before. And if it is stuff that you've seen similar to before, it's stuff that's been taken to the next level. For reasons that hopefully the judges will be at the awards night, so you can ask them. You can actually go up to their faces, speak to their faces and talk to them. But I think what we'll see from the winners is a broad church of variety, which I'm really excited to show in the presentation.
There will definitely be some surprises with the winners this year. There are so many different styles of photography represented across the different categories, and within those category finalists even. There's no one look or feel that's carrying the can. No one's going to be able to assess every image correctly, every finalist correctly. No one will judge it.
There's always surprises when we see the winners. There are some real eye-catching, just stunning images, and we put all the category winners up on the board yesterday, and that is quite a collection. There are some very talented photographers out there who deserve the credit they're going to get.